All right. Number 8, knowing when it's time to change and that crisis can inspire us. Crisis can inspire the reflection required to turn your life around. Now, I don't know about you. I'm human, and if I didn't screw up so much, I don't think I would be alive. And I think that sometimes we're too hard on ourselves. I'm a recovering perfectionist, and I think it's very important that we don't hold ourselves to being perfect. That we admit that there are times when I get the help of therapists, and they help me manage my emotions and the stress in my life. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to have humility and talk about what we need when we're totally overwhelmed. It's better than making a bad decision where, people in the financial world a couple years ago in 2008, 2009, I launched my first financial seminar, and it was actually full here in Sedona, Arizona. I think we had 20 or 30 people in the room, and it was very sad to me because the news at the time of financial crisis, there were so many people that were, it was a story about a doctor and his wife that actually, it was a homicide, and he did it because he couldn't afford his student loans. Our doctors have a life expectancy which is very low, which is the saddest thing I've ever heard in my life, of age 46. It's the people that take care of us, that helps us to stay in mental, emotional, physical shape, are dying, and the highest rate of suicide, and the lowest life expectancy. I mean, is there a problem here? That's why sometimes I get really upset, because it's like I feel that our planet should be run by the mindset of the medical professionals, because they're nurturing and caring and kind, and that the people like us, the bean counters, and that we have a profit motive, should actually move that profit motive to think about what those constant time on the computer and medical computations and all of these actuarial statistics and all this BS that I used to do in the reinsurance companies. Think about human life, put human life as something that's valuable. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but human resources are expendable on a corporate level, and it's very easy to treat them like depletion and depreciation and create schedules and have key employee life insurance. There's one gone and just replace another. And I have a problem with that. That's why I created Billionaire Mommy. I have to say that I feel strongly about it. I am opinionated. I hope that you don't get too angry at me for it, that we should value human life. We should have our values, which I covered, loyalty and integrity and honesty and synchronicity, and along with that, we should here's a whole world of 8 billion of us, and maybe we should start thinking about each other. I don't know, maybe helping each other out. Okay, the reason I decided to put my work and my values and my life and my business consulting and things like that out there is because I believe in the ability of leaders, and at a world-class level. If I'm going to do something, then I might as well be the best, or do the very best I can do. So at the end of the day, when I look at in my own eyes in the mirror, I'm not having the pain of regret that I sucked. Mediocrity is mediocrity. Why is it that we show up to a job and we spend, half of our time doing personal things, and then we go home and spend all of our time doing business stuff? It makes no sense to me. Why don't we have a focus for productivity and for success, that we will always give our best, no matter what the situation is, and our best is going to change from today to tomorrow, from this day to that day, from this month to that month, and as we get older, it does get harder for sure to be able to do that, unless if we're working in the same industry and the same craft. But mediocrity is mediocrity. I think, especially, with YouTube and videos, if you have questions on how to have an awesome video set, I'd love to have John walk you through. I'd love to put some videos out on how we can move our YouTube videos to a much higher quality and to a much higher ability, and move past mediocrity. Mediocrity is only when we're afraid to step into our power and our success, because all of us have the ability, I don't know, maybe all of us have the ability to be the very best, and it creates not competition but collaboration. It allows us to see for me, it's very simple to be successful. I look at what the very best are doing and I emulate them, and I wish to be like them, and I aspire to be as great as them. It takes a lot of humility and a lot of courage to say, okay, I have all of this feedback and I suck at all of these things, and that's okay, because I'm going to get better if I continue to make progress towards the next step. So mediocrity is when, here's one of my stories. I like dancing a lot. It's one of my favorite hobbies. It keeps me in great, it's one of my personal routines that keep me in great shape. It's great for the circulation, great for, pretty much every organ in the body. It's great for so many things. And there's one type of dance that I'm not very good at, which is belly dancing. And because belly dancing is like, you have to be very, trust me, it's very hard. So I've registered for Belly Dancing 101 5 times. I took one class and left every time, and I don't go back because it's really hard. And my teacher is like, she's been teaching since 1998 or 1999. She's awesome. She's beautiful. I love her so much. Carrie Konya, she's here in Sedona. And I come back from the class and I practice. And I have a family, baby, life, business. So it's not like I leave because of ego. It's just, my schedule doesn't always permit making the class. But my point is I show up and I try to do this dance, and it's nowhere near what she does. Okay, so I went to this belly dancing class, and in the class there was all age groups, but the majority was like maybe high school kids, and I really felt out of place, and it was outside of my comfort zone. But I like to do things that make me feel stupid and look stupid at times because it's fun, and I like to see how much better everybody is, and then I look at that and go, well, I really suck at that, right? And then I was, and I don't think that's a problem. I think that mediocrity is having the humility to understand that here is my professional teacher. She's been dancing, and she's like won, I think, belly dancing competitions. She does shows. She's like literally traveled the world, and she goes to New York and she does these events, and she's amazing. Me, it's kind of like, okay, beginners belly dance, and I'm like, okay, like that. Now Bollywood's a different story. I might show you a few moves that you might like, but belly dancing is not really my cup of tea. So, but I was at the public library, and I was at the public library the other day, and then they introduced, I won't say her name, and and they said, to welcome the great, da-da-da-da, and here's her sword, and she's going to dance for us. And I'm not going to say her name or whatever. I'm just going to tell you my experience. And so she was dancing, and there I was, and I was looking, and I go, oh my God. Like, have you ever seen mediocrity? Like, this is mediocrity minus squared, okay? To like the negative infinity, 0, really bad. And so I'm like, so I went up to the teacher who did this grandioso introduction, and I said to her, how long has she been dancing? She said 12 years. I said, what? So if you think that mediocrity is bad, let me tell you, success is not that hard. I failed belly dancing 101 5 times, and I'm okay with that. I'm mediocre at it, but I do know what success is. So for you to, and again, this comes back to being real in business. It comes back to being authentic. It comes back to being fun. It comes back to not taking ourselves so seriously. So maybe you could find a hobby or something that allows you to be, to joke around and to be real again, to maybe be the person that's not perfect and to be the one where everyone is better, and to fail 5 times. But, I still have class passes, and I'm going to try to go back again when I have more time, but I'm going to continue to try. I'm not going to give up on learning, like muscle control and everything that they do. It's really tough. But I'm definitely not going to do a stage performance after 12 years and be totally mediocre either. So in your business, find your talent. That's why mediocrity is mediocrity. Find your 10x activity. Mine is teaching, my knowledge, video work, consulting, coaching, inspiration. There's so much that I love. But if you put me with my team and they're talking about fixing databases and technical, chances are I would be really mediocre. Why? Because it's not my natural skill or talent. I studied 13 to 15 hours a day and I got a D in computer science. And I have the humility to say that I studied in pre-med, when I was trying to figure out my career and my life, and I got a C+ after 8 or 9 hours of studying every day. Accounting 101, I took it and I got an A+ after correcting the department chair, which I later found out was a department chair I should not have, in front of the entire class, and told her she missed a paragraph in the textbook, and she did something wrong in her computation. So I picked my 10x activity in my business and I leveraged everything else out so that I could keep my sanity, my family, my happiness, my freedom of time, my freedom of money, and then I can give the very best that I have, because a lot of people are looking at me from a few years ago and they're going, and I want to thank you so much for your feedback, because you're saying I've come a long way, and that means a lot to me, because the only reason I've come a long way is because I've given up my mediocrity. I've given up the things that I really suck at, and I stick with the things that I'm really great at, so that I'm adding a ton of value to your life, and I'm adding so much more. So in your business and for your employees, hire the right people for the right job, for the right project, for the right time, and you won't have mediocrity. Your business won't suck, and you won't have low productivity if your people are passionate and motivated about what they're doing. If they're showing up just for a paycheck and you feel sorry for them, well, chances are people will be feeling sorry for you when your business has a sign that says, "We feel sorry for this place and that's why we buy here." I don't know if I can be that honest or real. Forgive me if that's offensive, but sometimes I just have to be honest, because that's not building goodwill. Goodwill is that you have amazing talent, amazing people, people that are passionate about serving your customers. For my video feedback, I got feedback from a lot of people to fix my hair. I have very curly hair. It can be very frizzy in the heat. It's a mess. And like I said, this beauty thing and beauty industry is kind of important to me. So I went to fix my hair, and this hairstylist, she's having a bad hair day. Anyways, a really bad hair day. And so she was up early, and she has done 20 haircuts, and she gets paid by the hour. And so basically by like 4 o'clock, we had about 20 customers come in. I had called ahead and scheduled an appointment, and so I was kind of, ahead of the line, because that's what you should really do. A restaurant or something you like or you really need for your profession or your job, you schedule an appointment, schedule time with someone when they're available versus, showing up on the spot. So a lot of people showed up on the spot, and there was one particular family that had like 8 kids, and I think they need 8 kitty haircuts. And she was at her wit's end, and what she did was she literally lost it. And she got really upset. And she asked everyone to leave, and she went, she ran, and she closed the door because the boss had left, and she was there alone. Now, if you throw out about 10 or 15 customers on a Saturday for a chain that has a brand reputation and a brand name, and there isn't quality management there, chances are we're going to have that business suffer a lot with its customer and customer reputation and mediocrity, and having the ability to then they'd have to rebuild goodwill and rebuild that. We all know what that looks like. Why is that important for us to realize as we move into big business as entrepreneurs, and we move into leadership as executives, and we're managing our team and managing, we have to, and I have made a lot of these mistakes in my early years, because coming from a technical mind, when I had a lot of energy, I would work 10, 15, 20 hours a day if I had to get the job done. But my team and my people may not be able to keep up with me at that pace, and they might get frustrated because this might be my 10x activity and I'm passionate and excited about it, but they may not be. So, a long story short is we really have to, I think you're going to find that the solution for almost any problem in business is going to come back to one thing. It's going to be how we handle the problems that our people are having, how we provide the solutions for their biggest fears, how we motivate them when they're down and they don't have the energy or the courage or the inspiration to keep going. Sometimes we have a few employees or people on our staff or our team, in our leadership team, that we might actually have to have them move into their 10x activity so that they're not bringing the entire mastermind or team down, simply because they're not a mediocre person, or they're providing a mediocre service, or it's mediocrity. It's simply not their cup of tea. And if we can remember that, then we're going to get out of all of these problems.